P2. We're going to label all of these things that need labeling. All right, what is this called? Right here, what is this thing called? Right here? That's your y-axis, yeah. What about this one? What is this called? This is your x-axis. Good. What is this point right here where they cross called? The origin. And then these spaces, so when you draw this x and y axis, you've got four like areas. Those areas are called quadrants, and they are named starting right here. This is quadrant 1, right? Marker's not very good. This is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. We generally use Roman numerals when we name the quadrants. That isn't like absolute law, but it's how we do it. It's how it's done. This entire setup right here, you may know what it's called. It has a name.
The plane.
It is definitely a plane. A little bit more to it. The plane's part of it. It's called the Cartesian coordinate plane. The Cartesian coordinate plane. Have any of you heard of René Descartes? René Descartes, a great mathematician, philosopher. He is credited, I mean, who knows, but he is credited with being the first person to draw math. In other words, he put numbers in positions, plotted points. René Descartes, the Cartesian coordinate plane. Good. All right, now, here we go. Number 2. We have been given 2 points. Now, I know you just took a quiz where that meant they would 1 on the number line, 3 on the number line, color in between, but now we've named it, so it's not that anymore. This is actually a point, okay? So you know where that point would be. If I put it over here, that point would be left 1 and up 3. So right here is point A. And then point B would be right here. Now, the question says, find AB. That means find the distance from here to here. That's what this notation means. That is a notation for distance. Write that down so you remember. That means distance. You know how to do that, and I'm not talking about getting out a ruler and measuring it. You know how to do this mathematically. Anybody remember? It's called the distance formula. Remember it?
Was it the y2 minus y1 over x2?
No, but we're going to do that also in this little chapter P. That's called slope, and that has, it uses these numbers in the same way the distance formula does, but that finds the slope of the line. We want the distance of the line.
Is it x1 plus x2 divided by 2? Or
Okay, now that is midpoint. So if I wanted to find the point that was right in the middle of these two, I would do what you did. And we're going to do that too, but that is not distance. Distance is the one with the big radical. Remember that? Anybody remember what's under the radical? Okay, you need to know this, all right? So between now and Monday, let's get this figured out. We subtract our x's and square it, and we subtract our y's and square it. So it uses the same x1, y1, x2, y2 that you guys were talking about with slope and midpoint. But we just do a different thing with them. So I don't care, it literally makes no difference which point are the ones and the twos. So if this is x1 and y1, and this is x2 and y2, again, it doesn't make any difference which one you call point 1 and which one you call point 2. Nobody ever in your life is going to ask you to write the distance formula. No, they're going to ask you to use the distance formula. So basically, what you need to remember is that you're going to subtract your x's, and it doesn't matter what order you subtract them, kids, because you're going to be squaring. So I don't care, it doesn't matter. You can do 7 minus negative 1, or you can do negative 1 minus 7, it doesn't matter. Subtract your x's. You're going to subtract your y's. You're going to square each one of those, add them up, and take the square root. Okay, so here we go. What is negative 1 minus 7? Negative 8. What is 3 minus 1? What is negative 8 squared? Positive 64. And what is 2 squared? 4. 64 plus 4 is 68. We have the square root of 68. Anytime we as big kids get a radical, we have to think about simplifying it. Now remember, you don't have your little calculators that did that for you. You have to be able to do this. It's easy, so easy. I need to break down 68. Think of 2 things multiplied together that give you 68. Any 2 things. Two and 34, great. It's an even number, 2 and 34. 68's broken down. Okay, 2 and 34. 2 doesn't break down. What about 34? Does it break down? It's an even number. Even numbers break down. What is it? 2 and 17, yeah? So 34 is broken down. Does 17 break down? Nope, it's prime. So you have broken down your number. Anything you have 2 of is going to come outside. So I have 2 2's, don't I? So that's going to be outside the radical. There's only one 17, so he has to stay inside. Not every number is going to break down, but you're going to want to check to see if it does, and this one does. All right, here we go. Now our points are 2, 6, and negative 5, 1. We want to find the distance between them. AB, that means the distance between them. So what do we do? Yep, so 2 minus negative 5, and we're going to square that. You're exactly right, Jake. What else do we do then?
And then you subtract the 6 and 1.
6 minus 1, and we square that also. Now notice I am subtracting my x's and subtracting my y's. I never mix the x's and y's. X's with x's, y with y. All right, what's 2 minus negative 5? Seven. And what is 7 squared? 49. What is 6 minus 1? 5 squared? 25. Remember, you got a little, you'll never have to do this without at least a little calculator, okay? So now I add them together, 49 and 25 is
122. Oh, no, sorry.
74.
74.
74.
It's all good. I make mistakes all the time. I don't mind you correcting me, but I think it is 74. And now I'm gonna see if that breaks down, just like I did over there. So 74 is even, so what do I know for sure? 2. So 2 times what is 74? 37. Uh-oh. 37, I believe, is prime. In order to simplify that radical, you have to have 2 of something. Do I have 2 of something? So guess what? That is your answer. We always check to see if they break down, but they don't always break down. All right, why don't you and your partner try this next week? It is exactly the same thing. If you don't have a partner, feel free to move your desk and your partner, or move your chair, whatever.
Wait, is it 4?
Carol, what's the first thing you did?
I did -5 minus -8
Okay,
squared.
so she did -5 minus -8. You guys, that's fine. If you did -8 minus -5, you're also fine. You're subtracting your x's. How you subtract them doesn't matter. Subtract your x's. And then, of course, Carol, you squared that, right?
Yeah.
All right, then what did you do?
Then I did 2 minus 4 squared.
Perfect. All right, let's not panic, let's do the math. -5 plus 8,
-8.
3, and I'm gonna square it, so that's gonna be 9. Now, no matter what, you should have gotten 9. When I subtract, when Carol subtracts, she gets 3. If you did it in the other order, you got -3. It doesn't matter, because when you square it, either one, you're going to get 9. Okay? 2 minus 4,
2.
well, it's -2, but I'm squaring it, so it's going to be 4. If you did 4 minus 2, you got 2, and when you squared it, you got 4. 9 plus 4,
13.
13 is prime, can't break that guy down, so the answer is the square root of 13. Did we get that?
Yes.
Okay? All right, now, number 3, we already talked about this a little bit, because someone raised the idea of midpoint. How do we find the midpoint? I'd like you to write down, I'd like you to write midpoint is average. If you're in the middle of your average, nothing wrong with that, but that's what middle means, your average. How do we average things? If I gave you two numbers and said find the average, how do you do that? Exactly, you add them and divide by 2. So if we want to find the average x, we're finding the midpoint. If we want to find the average x, we'll just add our x's and divide by 2. That's how you average. You add and divide by 2. So -1 plus 6 is what? 5 divided by 2. Now, you can leave it as 5 halves. You can write it as 2.5. You can write it as 2.5. I don't care, it doesn't matter, it's 5 halves. And then we're gonna average our y's. Remember, it's always x, no matter what you're doing. X's are together, y's are together. So 2 plus 4
6.
divided by 2,
3.
there's your midpoint. Now, if you absolutely have to have a formula, here it is. But again, nobody is ever gonna say write the midpoint formula. No one's ever gonna say that to you. You have to know how to do it. I just remember midpoint's average. I'm gonna add and divide by 2. All right, you try the next one. You'll get fractions sometimes, and that's okay, guys. It's not an issue. Just add them and divide by 2. What's your average x?
-7 over 2.
What?
-7 over 2.
-7/2, that is exactly right. And again, I'm just gonna leave it that way because I don't wanna do extra steps, but if you wanna write that as -3.5 or -3.5, that's okay. What's your y? 7/2, there's your midpoint. Add the x's divided by 2, add the y's divided by 2, that's it. That's your midpoint. Number 4. Believe it or not, these are circles. And I don't know if you guys did anything with circles last year or not. But we need to know that when we're adding an x squared and a y squared, even if there's other numbers in there, we still have an x squared and a y squared. When we're adding those together, we have a circle. And circles have a center and a radius. Now I'm going to do this one first because I think it's the most obvious. I mean, once I show you how this works. The center of this circle is at 2, -3. The center is a point, and it's at 2, -3. How did I do that? Where'd that come from?
You split.
Isn't it just the opposite of what you see in the parentheses? Always, that's how it works. Always. So, since that's x -2, +2, y +3, -3. I'll do another one in a second, but I won't finish this one, okay? What's my radius? Well, it is the square root of 15. Where'd that come from? It's the square root of, always the square root of that number. So you can look at the equation of a circle just tell me, the center is where? Where is the center?
-1/7.
-1/7, and the radius is square root of 36, which is 6. So easy. What about this one? Any guesses here about this one? No. I bet you can tell me the radius. Can you tell me the radius? 4. How big 4? Square root of 16? Well, didn't the center come from the numbers that were attached to the x and the y? Okay, so what's attached to the x and the y? 1. If there were a 1, wouldn't it look like that?
Yeah.
Is that what it looks like?
It'd be 0.
It'd be 0. This is like, isn't x minus 0 the same as x? So where is your center? Your center is the origin, because there are no numbers attached to x and y. So if we had a mixed, or maybe we had x minus 2 squared plus y squared equals 7. Where's the center?
2, 0.
2, 0, very good. And where's the or what is the radius? Square root of 7. Easy. Gotta remember it, but it's really easy to do. So now we're going to put all these ideas together, and we're going to write some equations of circles. So I'm going to leave this guy here because I want you to remember that that's what a circle equation looks like. So in problem 5a, it says, here is my center, here is my radius, what will my circle be? 5a. So the center's 1, 4, and the radius is 6. All right, here we go. Can you write that equation? I'm gonna make it look just like that one, but it has this center. Help me out, what do you think? X minus 1 squared plus minus 4 squared equals, now be careful, equals what? 36. Because this number right here is r squared. Remember how you have to take the square root of it? So take a minute, write this one down. Center's here, radius is that. Write down your equation. And then, Ellis, I'm gonna have you tell me what you got. What you got, Ellis?
Not for sure.
Not for sure. Somebody help him. What do we put in here? We gotta have an x and y, right, for sure.
X plus 3.
It's gonna be plus 3, Alice, because it's always the opposite of that, okay? So it's x plus 3, and then what's this one gonna be? Y minus 2. And then what are we gonna put over here? 100, because the square root of that is how you get the radius. This is r squared. All right, now hold on to your hats, folks. Hold on. problem C. We got a circle. We know this, no, we don't know the center. We know the diameter. Do you remember that's what a diameter is? The diameter has endpoints at -1, 5, and 3, 7. Now notice, I'm not like plotting this, I'm not drawing an official picture of it. I just want to get a visual of my situation. I got this circle, I know that's a diameter. My job is to write the equation. So I, at some point, have to come up with this. What do I need to know to fill in my parentheses? What do I need to know to fill these numbers in? I need to know the center, which just so happens to be the midpoint of the diameter. I know how to find midpoint. How do I find midpoint? I average. -1 and 3. What is the average? I'm looking at my x's. What is the average of -1 and 3? -1 plus 3 is 2. Can't do that. You need to get it into the calculator, guys, because you got to get it right. -1 plus 3 is 2. Divided by 2 is 1. 5 and 7 is 12. Divided by 2 is 6. So now I know my center is 1, 6. So my equation will be x minus 1
plus y minus 6.
Perfect. Now the only thing I'm missing is this, which is r squared. Obviously I need to know my radius. Would you agree that this right here is a radius? So would be this one, it doesn't matter, I'm kind of using this one because there's no negatives, but this is also a radius. So the radius is the distance from here to here. Do I know how to find distance? Yes, we talked about it, it's in your notes. This distance is going to be the square root of, how does it work again? X minus x. Yep, very good. One minus 3 is -2. And when I square that, I get 4.
Yeah.
Remember, when you square something, it will never be negative. So -2 squared is 4. 6 minus 7 is? 1. -1 squared is 1. So it's a square root of 5?
Yes.
That's your radius. What goes here?
25.
Oh,
5.
5. Just 5. All right, guys, let's make sure we follow that. You figured out that the radius was the square root of 5, right? What's the square root of 5 squared? Just 5. Just 5. Remember, when you square a radical, you just get rid of the radical. You don't change the number. You just get rid of the radical. Wow. Big problem. All right, let's get through number 6, and then if we have time, we'll do another one of those, but I gotta get through number 6 here. These are just absolute value. Anybody know what absolute value means? What does that mean? We're just gonna end up making our answer positive, right? So look inside, they're like parentheses, PEMDAS, do the inside first. What's negative 3 plus 2? Negative 1, but since it's an absolute value, it's going to become 1. 1. The answer to A is 1. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1, but you're taking the absolute values, so you're making the positive to 1. B, do each one individually. What is 4 minus 7?
3.
Well, 4 minus 7 is actually negative 3, but it's inside absolute value, so it's going to be 3. And now I'm going to subtract this one. 3 plus 1 is 4, and the absolute value of 4 is just 4. So this one's 3, this one's 4, I'm subtracting, so the answer is
Negative 1.
negative 1. Right? You and your partner try C and D. Let's see what you can come up with.
Did you give the first one? The second one? Indeed. I think either that one or I'm going, but I'm gonna go that.
All right, C, what's the absolute value of 5? 5. What's the absolute value of negative 5? 5. What are you doing? You're taking that one minus that one, so hopefully you got 0. Good?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. 10 minus 3 is
7.
7, and the absolute value of 7 is
7.
3 minus 10 is
Negative 7.
negative 7, but the absolute value is 7. What are you doing with those two? You are adding them
14.
14. How many got 0 and 14 both? All right, you're absolute value master. Super. One more problem, and then I promise I'll shut up. But we're going to do another one of these. This is extra. Squeeze it in somewhere on the side, maybe sheet of paper or whatever. We are going to find the equation of a circle. And all we know is that there's a diameter that has these endpoints. Okay? So what do we need to know to write the equation of our circle? We have to fill in these parentheses, right? And these parentheses are the center.
Yes.
So I need to find the center. I'll find the midpoint. And how do I find the midpoint? I average them. That means I'm adding my x's and dividing by 2. I'm adding my y's and dividing by 2. Midpoint is average. That means you add. So what did you get for your midpoint?
5, 6.
I heard a couple people say 5 comma 6.
Yep.
What does everyone else think about that? All right, Aqua's got a thumbs up. Chase, you on board? 5, 6? Okay. So now we're going to fill that into our equation. So what am I gonna write here? X what?
Negative 5.
X minus 5, Y minus 6. I know that seems weird, but that's how it's done. It's like, This is an application of the distance formula, so those are minuses. So x minus 5, y minus 6.
Oh.
I'm done, except for this number right here. Okay, how do I get that number?
Distance.
I do the distance, yes, that's the radius, and that's gonna be either that distance or this distance. I always use this one for some reason, but it don't make any difference, one or the other. And how do you do that? How do you find that distance?
X minus X.
So we subtract our x's, so if you're going over here, you're gonna do 4 minus 5. If you're going over here, you're gonna do 5 minus 6. It doesn't matter, either way. Oh, don't forget to square that. And then we do the same thing with our y's, right? And then we're going to add those together after we get them figured out. Look at all the yawns. That must be exceptionally boring today. 5 minus 6 is -1, but I gotta square it, so it's going to be 1.
Yeah.
6 minus 9 is -3, but I'm squaring it, so that'll be 9.
Yep.
So my radius is the square root of 10. Don't put the square root of 10 here though, because in this blank, see how you got your x's squared and your y's are squared? That's r squared. So that's gonna be the square root of 10 squared. What did I tell you? When you square a radical, you don't change the number, you just lose the radical. So that is, there it is. All right, guys, I need you to mark down in your planner or whatever you got. You need to get signed up for Math League. Math League is $5. You're gonna wish you did. If you didn't, I promise, it's fun. If you've never done it before, oh my gosh, this is your last chance. See me get signed up for Math League. It's extra credit. It's fun. The first one, you have a tailgate. It's awesome. You need to get signed up. Okay?